Right, welcome back everyone to our latest edition of the Quake Pro League, where CNZ versus Spart1e is going to be our next matchup. I think it's starting to become quite an eternal 1v1 actually between these two players. You can always expect something really good when they clash heads. Emotions all over the place with these two in game anyway. But I think we can expect a decent matchup. I think CNZ always goes into it as a favourite because he's just been looking real crisp. Especially this season, the later stages of Season 1. But we'll see how this one goes, Lethal.
Yeah, CNZ's had a lot of close series over the last few weeks. I think he's going 2-4 to the series scoreline, but he's so high up on the table because he's taken almost a map of almost every single person he's come up against so far. So starting to learn to adapt a bit better against certain opponents. I think ever since that Stage 4 finals, he's actually been learning to adapt even better. I said it before, like in previous times, he used to try and focus on other people's mistakes rather than his own. Now that he's realised about his own mistakes and what he needs to do, now he's got the time to actually be able to study everyone else. Now he's rectified everything that needs to be done. So a bit of both, bit of passive and aggression depending on the circumstances. And he does have a little bit of trouble closing out some of these maps, and we've seen it from time and time again. But on the other end, we've got Spart1e, who has regained a lot of flair over the last few weeks. He's been at the bottom of the table like in so many stages in the past. We've seen a revitalised Spart1e. It's nice to see him actually be able to come back.
I'll never go over it.
Doing
Never
so
go over
well
it.
in the EU Pro League. Yeah, every time I see him do that, it does. I try and hold him, but I just can't. It's just such a lovely guy. But let's have a look, though. Spart1e taking down Cooler 3-0 a few weeks ago. Recently took down Tox. And Tox normally has Spart1e's number every single time. That Swedish powerhouse matchup between the two. It's always Tox beating Spart1e 3-0 every single time without fail. And now we've seen Spart1e taken down 3-0. It's like, oh, okay, Spart1e's actually stepped his game up massively. And I'm not too sure what he's done in terms of how he's actually progressed this far and be able to be a lot stronger compared to previous stages. Maybe he's been grinding a lot more, I'm not sure, but his aim and his mobility from what I've seen and the pass he's been taking is a lot more unorthodox and a lot more accurate from what we've seen in the past. So it's nice to see Spart1e playing much better and more to his potential, I'd say, in comparison.
So let's have a look at the picks and bans. I do believe we do have a little bit of consistency here. It's CNZ and Spart1e after all. So Molten Falls is going to make some kind of appearance, and it will for map number 1. It's going to be the Galena versus the Strog. Ruins of Sarnath after that, the Nyx and the Visor. But then we get to go into Deep Embrace again, and in a similar factor to Awoken, it'll be Ranger and Doomslayer. Spart1e with the Doom, on those small combat-heavy maps, Spart1e can make magic happen with the Doom sometimes. So I kind of expect to see similar veins of that from the Deep Embrace. Now, Spart1e, if we look at both of these players, CNZ has just been ascending, right? He has been getting better and better. And with the way he plays now, it is hard to believe he was ever in challenges. You know what I mean? It's hard to believe he wasn't in Pro League since day one.
Makes you laugh, doesn't it?
He did have to, fight his way into those ranks, and he's been a mainstay ever since then. And then Spart1e, a player that no matter how inconsistent he may or may not be, he is a player that he is incredibly talented. And he has what it takes to take out the best if he's having a real good day. And he's proven that over the course of Quake Champions. But CNZ, I don't really know how to make or what to make of this one, I guess, is more accurate. I see CNZ having an edge here, but I kind of see this being a 2-1 deal. I don't see a 3-0 happening with either of these two players.
Spart1e is just fundamentally gifted in so many areas. It's very hard to try and decide what you want to do. If you have an off day against Spart1e, you're done for pretty much, especially during this stage. CNZ, it depends how quickly he can read what Spart1e is doing, what he's up to. And look at those map picks. The fact that I've seen Molten Falls come through again and CNZ chose it straight away, he's probably laughing every single time he gets a match and sees Molten Falls available. He's like, oh, no one's banned Molten Falls. Oh, God, I'll have that. Sees Molten Falls again. Oh, God, I'll have it again. Like, they just let him have it every single time. But it's more to the fact that people assume that he's better on Blood Covenant. That's why we see a lot of the times whether, why Molten Falls doesn't get banned. Sometimes, like, CNZ does actually play better on Blood Covenant. It just depends what kind of day he has. But he's been very, very consistent. It's hard to judge on what kind of style he has. Sometimes he keeps himself very calm and collective and to himself and wastes a few minutes trying to figure out what his opponent is up to and what he does. And when he actually realises what he's up to, then he's aggressive. It's a very strange play style. It's like slightly similar to base, but a lot more forward and a lot more pressure when it comes to try and feeding himself more information on the map. But Molten Falls is map number 1. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
It's a map that CNZ has considerably, I guess considerably is the wrong word, consistently shown that he's really good at.
It's a map that
it just fits his style. He is a extremely methodical player. He is similar to a base in that effect, where he is disciplined, and a player like Spart1e can always be that player that might have some kind of weird kind of spanner in the works effect, because CNZ plays super disciplined. If he takes a risk, it's an extremely calculated one. Whereas Spart1e sometimes can be known to play with his heart on his sleeve, and he'll do something that you would just go, what? That's why he plays some champions that can really extend that play style, because they might have this this kind of X factor almost to just get that surprise little bit of damage or something very similar. So again, I do think it's a little bit of a clash of styles. That's why CNZ, he's a very consistent player, so a map like Molten fits him like a glove. But as we end our warm-up, map 1, CNZ and Spart1e, we'll see who's going to get the upper hand here.
Definitely, as we're going to map number 1, I'm glad to see CNZ to start off with, because I want to see what he's up to and what he expects from Spart1e during the opening moments of this game, because it's like a jigsaw puzzle with CNZ. You don't really know how many pieces you're going to get. You don't know how long it's going to be until he completes it, because that's what it's like when it comes to reading his opponent, downloading his opponent, and what he wants to do. But it seems like it wasn't, well, he was a little bit too predictable there, but it's more the fact that Spart1e was just taking his time and waiting for him to make the first mistake, and rightly so, he did make the first mistake, going down the archway, and then managed to get away with his life momentarily. But still got 1 totem up, which is good. He'll get a next totem up in due course, but this is one of the main things. You know that CNZ is going to be prioritising those hourglasses to get the overstack when possible, and so he won't be sitting around quite a lot of times, but at the same time, Spart1e needs to keep on his toes to find these totems later on. So the second one will be chopped down very soon, and there we go, and a minute left, and still the mind games are happening. Looks like so far CNZ is still trying to work out exactly where he wants to go to next. He's going to try and contest the heavy anyway. Pika comes in, manages to take that down, gets the heavy for himself, and he just needs to try and get away if he can, which he has done. Managed to get that top shotgun control, is looking for exactly where he could be, finds his whereabouts, and he's going to try and go for that rotation. But as he's done that, he's picked up the health orb in the middle of the map, so he knows exactly where CNZ is going to be. The totem comes down, but one thing you've got to remember is the fact that he's still railable. So if Spart1e gets the nice rail here or just pushes in, he could be in for a great chance. Picker comes through, LG comes out for Spart1e. He could be taken down here, but Spart1e just managed to stay alive still. It looks a lot worse than it looks compared to those rockets from earlier. But he's just picked up the heavy. His stack is looking glorious at this moment in time, and Spart1e's finally got that first frag on the board, and an important frag, to say the least.
CNZ's been able to put himself in position for this mega at the very least. However, able to get out, I think, at this rate. Yeah, and that's information, if anything. Totems to say, yep, I'm up on teleporter, and there's going to be a little bit less damage too. Now, if CNZ can get here in time, that missed rail means that Spart1e will 100% take the heavy. Ooh. But they get a trade in that situation. The Pika kind of securing Spart1e's fate at that point, because there's no way he was going to get away from that rocket. CNZ, I mean, sniping with the best it's going to get with the starting shotgun.
Gotta love the Quake 1 shotgun. It's just the noise of it as well. He just wanted to use it just for the giggles, really. But the rockets come in. He was available. He was 89 HP there, catch up. And now he's back to his almost default stack, which is not looking too bad for him. When rockets come in, he wants to try and contest that heavy. He's done a lot of damage to him, but then he's got a lot of damage taken to himself, but only on 43 HP. He needs to try and get away with his life, which he will be able to for now, but needs to decide which path to take. It looks like, according to the tri-bolt shots from CNZ, he's just going to sit back and fire away to feed himself info. And Spart1e, he's not going to fall for that at all, but he's going to back away. Pika comes in, nice rocket and Pika damage there. And there's, of course, the rail too. Spart1e's only left on a 10 HP, but looks like we'll get the 50 from the orbs, and we'll hopefully get the mega in the next 10 seconds, depending on the circumstances.
Yeah, with the way things are currently going, looks like CNZ should at the very least be able to make this a 2-3. Spart1e's kind of left retreating. It is the lack of armor. He's going to be sitting around near rail just in case, but you can hear the care that Spart1e's going to have to put into this right now. Going to be well aware of how weak he is in return. Oh! And that Pika, kind of scary, because it does mean that Spart1e's not going to be able to escape, right? He's going to be stuck in place for a little bit. And even afterwards, wow! That is a crazy little flick rail to hit straight off the jump pad. And he's doing a great job of just being super annoying to pin down at this rate.
He really is indeed. It's again, and being a bit more of a pain in the backside. CNZ is struggling to read what he could be up to, but this could be a great chance to get the second frag, and he does. Look at that, 6 HP. The totem comes down to heal him up just a little bit, but he wants to try and contest this heavy. He gets it. I don't know if it's going to help too much. He does still. My goodness there, Catcher. Look at that. He was on 6 HP again. That heavy did dividends there. We're a little bit worried there if that heavy didn't pick up in time. If he got there a little bit sooner, it was a good challenge there from Spart1e, but it just wasn't enough. But he's on 20 HP. He's daring for him to go for the 2 health orbs down there, but decides to prioritise for the Mega, rightly so. Totem comes down, so he can back away into that 50 if he needs to. First roll comes in. Spart1e, it's not looking good for him. This could be the first lead for him. Rocket just a little bit too late. But it doesn't matter anyway. CNZ's in a great spot right now, and it's just cat and mouse trying to get that full frag. The tone comes in, he knows he's going up to the LG, and we're past the halfway mark now, and CNZ's still looking to try and finish off that full frag, which probably won't happen now as Spart1e is almost back to his default stack. Not after that rail shot anyway.
It is CNZ piece by piece, building up a much superior one where Spart1e's forced to retreat again, thankfully. So he has got the speed to be able to contest. It means that he can escape without CNZ having too many angles on him, but this control is just starting to steer further and further towards CNZ right now. Only 2 of the Megas have belonged to Spart1e all the way. Spart1e's been having to stick... Oh! I almost had an angle. I was eyeing it up. Oh, that's the cutoff, though. Beautiful play there from Spart1e. Spart1e? CNZ. It's Spart1e that died. Good lord. It was a good play from CNZ, is clearly what I meant.
It certainly was indeed. Second turn will be coming down very shortly, so he's going to be another step closer to his overstack. But look at this though, Spart1e does have the height advantage. He's trying to get the rockets down, but it's taking more damage than he would like to from... But now Pika comes in, that did a huge chunk of damage. This could be Spart1e's opportunity to try and drop down and go for it, but it looks like he's won that battle in terms of contesting for that heavy. But the heavy, even though it's already been given to him, the Mega is coming up in the next second. He's taking a huge amount of damage from those rockets. He knew he had to back away, he has to leave that Mega, fight for another day. But CNZ now's also going to get the light, so he's in a very, very healthy position and could go on attack if he'd like to. Pika done a little bit of damage to him, a few missed shots. Another missed shot, which is very unlikely, very uncharismatic of CNZ. Still chasing him down, but eventually managed to get away. Spart1e's going to try and challenge him. Would he be able to equalise the scoreline? He didn't have the right weapon out, but he put off the map. That was the worst time for it. Even Spart1e knew, he was like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I kind of done goofed there. But it doesn't matter though. They're both still 1 frag apart from each other in terms of deficit, and Spart1e has the Mega.
In CNZ's only chance of survival was hitting a rocket at the magic time and getting the ring out, basically. Especially after that missed rail. That was pretty much a done deal. If there was no ledge there, Spart1e absolutely would have picked that one up. Tries to go in for the 2-piece combo. A little bit of damage, I mean, better than nothing. Spart1e a little bit down himself, but he's been able to make it 5-5, and that really is the important thing. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Even Steven situation. And actually, I believe that totem near Mega has been set up for a fair old while, isn't it? And now CNZ able to back off towards those lights. So an even stack once again. The next fight taking place near heavy. CNZ's definitely railable and then some. Doesn't even need a rail to finish off. The totem's going to keep him a little bit healthy, but without armor, the rail missing. That's a crucial opportunity for CNZ to escape. But the Kamikaze just can't chase it down. Spart1e probably kicking himself a little bit after that missed rail, to be honest.
Yeah, he definitely will be. He wouldn't have been taken down. I think it would have been left on 1 HP, but still it would have done more damage than it was worth, and then it would have finished him off in the dying moments, we'll have to see. But minute 40 left on the clock. The rockets come in. CNZ, he took him at the most perfect position, caught him off guard. You couldn't ask for a better position even if he tried. And he's got the overstack on top of that. But as I say, but though, Spart1e came from behind. CNZ completely misread that. Maybe wasn't listening well enough. And now, Spart1e just barely managed to get that heavy anyway, which is good stuff from him. Massively stacked and needs to really keep an eye on these totems. A lot of totems about it. It was 3 earlier. I'm not too sure how many there is at the moment. I'm just checking there's 2 now for CNZ. So needs to keep on his toes a little bit, not hang around the same area all the time. Try and push in a little bit more. Maybe not to try and take down CNZ, but take down the totems at least to make matters worse for him. But the stack is very similar for both of these players, and Spart1e is on the hunt. I don't think he wants to be here. He needs to back away in terms of CNZ needing to back away, but Spart1e's looking to try and take him down. A few missed rockets there. The Pika comes in, but he's got to be careful. Both these players are so weak, and CNZ manages to clean things up and left on 24 HP. Spart1e was hoping to get the trade there, but it's not to be. So he needs to really be over-aggressive now and find out exactly where CNZ could be positioning himself.
30 seconds to find him, and a stack absolutely equipped to deal with it. Looks like he has been able to slide right around this corner. CNZ, this is a tricky position. Has to hope on some defensive rockets, but even a direct would have done very little for him in that situation. Spart1e has been able to tie things up. CNZ has very little weaponry to challenge. By all means, surely Spart1e should be able to finish this. CNZ escapes? Oh my lord. He survived with like nothing. Nothing. We're going into sudden death. I'm surprised CNZ did not fall right there, but if he manages to win off the back of that one, this is just why CNZ is such a lethal competitor here in Pro League. And he finds him with the rocket for Spart1e. A good start. Oh my god. Emotional. Harry, this is emotional.
Oh no, this is getting ridiculous. That's one way to kind of level the stacking field in comparison. I think Spart1e knew that he was going to go that way, but just thought, you know what, I'm going to take my chances and find a rocket as he comes up the stairs. And it was the right play. He knew exactly what was going to come of it. Took only 14 damage from that tri-bolt, but that was more for information to see if he's going to contest the heavy, which he hasn't done. But it's left the heavy there for now. It looks like he's doing it just as bait to try and delay the heavy as much as he can.
Yeah.
He really needed that rail.
Frustrated mouth shakes there from Spart1e because with CNZ not even knowing where he was, that by all means should have been a free rail unreturned. But we have to just make do with the hand that we're dealt. CNZ holding the rail angle, gets it. Spart1e can't return. Spart1e's pushing forward. Fearless, a meager 13 damage. I mean, that's not going to be the rail that he took on the way in. And now he's looking a little bit worse for wear if you compare it to CNZ's gigantic health pool. The heavy's about to spawn as well. And absolutely, CNZ's going to take that one. So Spart1e has to disengage. He's shifting the gear. And it's now, I mean, it's information. He needs information, at least to have timing now. But it's a lot more than that. Decent little tri-bolt. And the rail! That is going to neutralize all the stack that CNZ just built up himself. The kamikaze gets the rail forced out. The perfect play. Can he make this count? The rocket lands! The final rocket! Oh, that was a hard fought map number 1. But Spart1e finds a way in the last minute.
I was just about to say, yeah, Spart1e needs to do at least 2 rail shots in order to like even come close to even try and make an attack or make a stance or kind of offensive approach. But he did like 211 damage in total for those 2 rails and the bolt shot, and he was like, right, okay, I think that's plenty of damage. I think I'll crack on and make the moves he needs to make. He chose the right path and managed to clean him up nicely. I don't think CNZ expected him to hit absolutely everything in those dying moments in the middle of the map. So great stuff from him, and very rare occasion this is, seeing CNZ be taken down in Molten Falls. We've only seen Cypher do it. We've seen maybe one other person in the past in the last stage back in Season 1, but it was very dominant on this map. But it looks like Spart1e is the next one to take him down in Molten Falls. And what makes matters worse for CNZ is that this is going to be Spart1e's next map pick. So we'll have to see what CNZ can do here. But he will be kicking himself a lot. The fact that he had such a huge stack, took the 2 rail shots and the tri-bolt shot as well on top of things and still pushed up. He's going to be kicking himself a little bit, but do you know what? He needs to put this map in the past and just remember that he's still got a couple more maps to go to try and close out the series if you can.
But we're going from one larger map into another one already. Ruins of Sarnath is going to be our next destination here, I think. And, I mean, just the clutch factor of Spart1e in those final moments. You love to see it. I mean, even there, there's a lot of different exchanges. CNZ getting that ring out when it was quite literally the only thing that was going to keep him alive in that fight. And he somehow found it. There's a reason CNZ is such a lethal machine on Molten Falls, and the history Spart1e and Z have had in Pro League, it's been quite rich as far as I'm concerned, and always happy to see them have games of this caliber. Even now, they clash again and again, and they still have these wonderful matches. And that was just map 1 for crying out loud. We've got 2 more.
Yeah, and the fact that it's his next map pick too, even though it is on Ruins, could be looking at Spart1e party here, considering like the fact that he could be going out with 2-0. And I'm glad for Spart1e as well. He's keeping himself well away from that relegation zone. Like, he's always in the bottom 2, but he's currently 7th. He could easily jump up to 5th maybe if he keeps going at it like he is now. And he's playing it correctly. He's not being overzealous. He's not, taking potential high risk maneuvers, which he doesn't need to do. Just being calm and collected, but super aggressive at the right time. So he's got a good counter attack in him. And you saw it earlier, especially with that last frag. Just chill, waiting for the right moments, and he's done formidable. And look at that, 58% rail from him as well, unheard of. And 40 from the rocket, quite especially his defensive and predictive rocket, especially some of the direct hits he hit earlier to actually keep him inside the game. But I feel like with this map, he needs to try and take this one to close out the series. And if he can, man, that's great stuff from him, and hopefully get him higher up on that leaderboard, making it even more difficult for Toxin Cooler to climb up the leaderboard.
It is those moments of clutch that always seems to bring Spart1e forward, I suppose, in competitive. But with that does come the sort of double-edged sword, I suppose, where on one hand, Spart1e has these giant moments where it's a great victory for him. He'll have this clutch win, or whatever the case may be, this one final shot that he needs to nail, and he will. And then sometimes he'll just fall short because he'll go for one of those big, bold plays, and it just kind of falls apart in the palm of his hand, where it can be, extremely up and down. But today, it's, at least off map number 1, it's great to see him having the better end of that. But going up against CNZ, you have to play extremely well, because a player like CNZ, who rarely makes mistakes, and he's not shy of playing defensively. When he has a solid lead, he will be hard to pin down. I know plenty of maps CNZ has where he just seems impossible to find sometimes, and going in with the Nyx in our next map might very much help that factor, Spart1e having a piercing sight, because the visor might help him kind of counteract that. But we'll find out in 10 minutes. What's going to go down here is it looks like Spart1e's getting the heavy side spawn on top of the LG and rail, so not a bad day in the office for a visor. And now it's time for the all-important information. And the piercing sight now means he gets a free rail. CNZ can't challenge that one. However, CNZ yet to take a rail of his own, actually. So that was a really good immediate shutdown of a very important weapon.
The Visor versus Nyx, a classic matchup of champions, and always a slight advantage to Visor with the piercing sight if Ghost Walk is used. But we'll have to see in terms of when and how Spart1e is going to use it and when to his advantage. Nearly hitting the 1 minute mark already. Nothing too much to say the least here, as Spart1e is just waiting for the right moment and right time to try and push up, manage to pick up the heavy machine gun, but CNZ is just waiting there for him. Listening out for those audio cues, sitting top mid with a rail and just waiting to see which path he's going to take. It looks like he will be going bottom mid for now. CNZ is going to be contesting that heavy, which is completely understandable. So both these players will be looking at the hourglasses more Nyx than it is for Visor for those ghost walks, but he needs to really be careful when he uses it. If he can try and force out the piercing sight, or at least try and bait it out or be close enough to hear it, but at least he knows how and when to actually use the ghost walk when he has to get away. But it can be quite a big disadvantage, especially if you're in a really bad spot and Spart1e's got the piercing sight. But we'll see how it goes, as both players quite even at this moment in time. CNZ's taken a little bit of damage, but damage is quite even, say the least, but the item control is fairly even as well. But the rockets are coming quite nicely here from CNZ, both on a similar stack again, but nothing much here. Just both players feeling each other out here, I think, Kesha.
And that's a interesting rail to get hit by CNC. That is the kind of miss that we all kind of clench at when he's that weak. Has just been able to take the heavy at the very least. So positioning favors CNC for sure. And now both items. Ammo good.
Being very cautious here.
Oh yeah, of course.
Top mid.
It's his style.
Yes, it certainly is indeed. And look at this though. He's gone from that. I think we might have just jinxed him here as the rail comes through. But CNZ again picks up the next heavy. He's got a huge stack in comparison to Spart1e, and he will be looking to challenge him if he gets the opportunity. But he's stuck in the light armor area. But both of them have a similar stack now, so CNZ could easily push if he wants to, but decides to hit the first rail and go in, but decides not to and use the Ghost Walk because he missed it. But it looks like it's going to be backing away again, and Spart1e has picked up that mega.
Man, I really liked that play from CNT on heavy, by the way. Just the way he dropped down and kind of caught the stairs to have quite a lot of forward momentum, kind of catching Spart1e off guard, where you know that Spart1e's looking for that angle. But then at the same time, CNT is so far forward that the rail missed and he was able to push and force him away. You don't really see that kind of play all the time. I did like that. Anyway, mega about to spawn. And it looks like Spart1e once more not really able to contest this. 10 seconds until Ghost Walk though, so CNT's going to be a little bit careful until then. And as Spart1e used his for the initial information, he's not going to be able to directly counter it. Gets hit by a rail anyway. That is now going to be a 1-0, and I'm not 100% convinced CNT was expecting the spawn right where he got the frag.
I don't think it was either. Where he was positioned, he made the assumption that it was maybe going to spawn, I don't know, maybe on the health orb with bottom heavy, or
Anywhere but
maybe the tri-bolt. But yeah, anywhere but there, pretty much. But it doesn't matter though, because he still flicked and hit 3 rails on the road back then. It looks like Spart1e's got quite an awful spawn there. He was hoping that maybe it can, if he does spawn in a tri-bolt room, he can go straight for rockets, but it's not to be. CNZ has got him pinned down and does have more weapons in his arsenal in comparison to Spart1e. But 2-0, still early days. We're just crossing the 4-minute mark. CNZ's got a very big stack here. Just needs to wait patiently for the right time to try and close in. But his stack is so big now, he can actually push in with the Ghost Walk and try and get behind him or try and put him off guard. And look, it looks like he has done. He's using the piercing sight, but then again, he's using the Ghost Walk. So kind of counteracting each other there. And
oh yeah, they very much,
that
exchange was 100% just allowing CNZ to reposition and keep the control. Spart1e knows that the Ghost Walk's been used, but there really wasn't much he could do about it, seeing as CNZ, I mean, he's invincible, right? Even if you know where he is, if CNZ has a stack and he's in position to take the item over you. Again, going back to look at the control, Spart1e's taken 1 heavy, 3 megas versus the 5 megas and 8 heavies of CNZ. CNZ's control is what his game is built around. Now, when he can have this absolute locked-in rotation of items, it'd be quite tricky to take it away from him, especially when he's so position heavy. He's always in position to hit this weird rail on you. Or, I mean, even something beyond the aggressive Ghost Walk. Spart1e not seeing that one coming, because that's a free, easy frag. And a terrible time for Spart1e to spawn. He has a starting machine gun. What does he do to survive this?
Nothing. He made the wrong turn. That bomb heavy spawn can be a bit of a doozy if he's up in the air, dropping down for that heavy. You know, he could have gone up the ramp to at least go bottom mid and then go for rockets, or he could have, you know, gone to heavy, and then that's exactly what happened. Went to heavy, only had an MG, and that's just one of those things. CNZ played that perfectly. He knew there was a 50-50 chance that Spart1e would go and drop down to the heavy side instead, and he did do. But then again, Spart1e has clawed back and got that one frag he desperately desired. He's got the heavies, and he's got a slightly decent stack, but it's a stack he can at least challenge with if he does find CNZ. He's got to maybe try and get an LG if he can, because he's only got the rail and the rockets. So both found. Ooh, that was a lovely rail from Spart1e, and gets the mega. This is definitely a opportune moment to push in and try and get the frag. CNZ is just waiting patiently, but Spart1e's like, no, I know exactly where you are. I'm going to go straight in, clean things up. Now he's looking for the next spawn, and he spawned at the top light, dropped down to bottom heavy, but Spart1e just caught a glimpse of him here, taking his hourglasses as well, just to make matters worse. But this is the great thing, though. Spart1e does have that piercing sight, so at least he can close in on where CNZ could be, even if at the dying moments of the game.
That was a perfect play from
wow.
Spart1e. The confidence of knowing CNZ. Oh, and another good spawn catch. The free rail. CNZ on the back foot immediately, and a perfect opportunity for Spart1e to bring momentum back into his favor. 1 frag away from evening things up. He has plenty of stack, plenty of ammo, all the right weapons. And, ooh, a tasty little heavy just out in the open. Yum, yum. Piercing sight just about to come back. Now, this is a battle of hourglasses in some respects, because, you know, 2 game-changing abilities. If you're taking the more piercing sights you have, the less Ghost Walks she has, and vice versa. Oh, I was looking for it. Didn't quite land it.
Almost. Still has the piercing sight in his back pocket. Definitely could have gone for it, but decides to use it now instead. Realises that he's on that heavy jump pan. He's looking to go back up once again, and he's chosen the right time to pop down. So that was very convenient for him. He was just seeing if he could go for it at what time. He thought it was going to be a little bit of time luck, but used the piercing sight to make sure he is guaranteed to get that heavy without taking any damage. So that was well played by Spart1e using that piercing sight. And he's got the top mid control, he's got all the weapons he needs. It's just a matter of trying to corner him off. He knows he's at a 1 frag deficit. He's got plenty of time. He's still got 2.5 minutes, and he's got his piercing sight back, and he's stacked up to the eyeballs once again. So it's a matter of how and when he wants to try and push these heavy stairs and see if he wants to creep up to him. He knows that CNZ is going back and forth like a yo-yo right now, seeing what he could do. But hopefully he'll be able to hear exactly where he's from that tri-bolt room. Does take a real damage, but knows exactly where he is. Still going for him because he used to pierce inside just a little bit later, but surely he can take him down. No, he doesn't. It's going to be a trade. CNZ commits suicide, but also takes Spart1e with him. And both players are going to be even now in terms of everything. So
yeah, that was absolutely, that was a win for CNZ because Spart1e was so stacked. And the Spart1e, the control that he was working on, the fact that he had the perfectly positioned rocket right out of the Ghost Walk, surely that should have been an easy pickup. But that whole sequence to reach that point, it's CNZ at its best. And I know that not everyone is a fan of the slow defensive style, especially the one that CNZ can really kind of champion in that respect, because he is not afraid to slow us down to a snail's pace and just frustrate you to no end. You feel like you can't find him, you feel like you can't finish the job. The ghost walk, I mean, there's a reason he plays Nyx on a map like this, because it's that second opportunity. You have to find him first, get the ghost walk out, and then you have to find him again. There's a reason he likes to, position himself around this area, because just look at how easy it is for him to get away. But he's the one in the lead. He had to work towards this advantage in the first place, when now he can play the frustration game, and now the attractive light armor, a little bit too attractive as he puts himself in harm's way just to take it, and Spart1e soaks it up. 4 frags apiece, and now the 1-minute warning. We're going into a close game once again. Oh no, Spart1e, he thoroughly expected CNZ to be there, just not there exactly.
That was such a huge risk. He could get the rail. Yes, he does. CNZ takes the lead. That was a huge risk there. I think he expected maybe CNZ to push up, so it would give him the chance to go up the jump pad. But, it's a frag like that can be quite easy to grab. Foolishly made the assumption that hopefully he'll miss, but we'll have to see now. Spart1e's still got the bigger stack, but it's only got 15 seconds. He needs to get something going here. He's only got a rail and a machine gun, so CNZ's in a good spot in terms of where he wants to go, but he's in a great spot. It's only got 5 seconds left. It looks like this is going to be it. CNZ will be taking this map, and Spart1e now is going to be kicking himself a little bit. I think it was a little bit too over aggressive. Maybe he should have let that heavy go, because he didn't have to stack for it. Or maybe it could be the fact that with CNZ he just wanted to take the risk and hopefully that Spart1e wouldn't go for it anyway. But no, he found him down there, but very, very lucky indeed. It was a shame he went on that jump pad right at the very end.
Spart1e did a really good job throughout that map of being able to, for lack of a better term, just bring himself back into the fight. Because for the first half of that map, he was so far behind in items. And then actually by the end of things, they were as good as evenly split down the middle with who was able to take what. And that in turn is part of the CNZ effect, where he does slow the pace down and he's happy to concede control when he has enough of a lead, and he's kind of positioned himself in a way that it's going to take ages just to find him, because that is the way CNZ plays that defensive game, and he's one of the absolute best in the world at it. And clearly something that can be very tricky in a competitive setting, because what happens in those closing moments? He starts to position himself on a map where it's really hard to find him and chase him down, and it takes ages to even get the ghost walk out. But then when the ghost walks out, he's escaped you once again, so you have to just repeat the process. Thankfully, with the piercing sight, Spart1e is kind of able to somewhat limit how often the ghost walk comes back, compared to being able to just, get every hourglass known to man. But ultimately, CNZ really just continuing to show why his defensive style on a map like Ruins can be such a devastating combination. And I do love the variety. Like I said, I know not everyone, for lack of a term, enjoys watching the defensive style. I know there are definitely people out there that want to see frags for days, aggression, speed, all that good stuff. But variety is the spice of life, you know what I mean? And if you're a player that can really thrive in an area that can frustrate the opponent, we're playing at the highest level here in Pro League. We're playing for money. We're playing for our position on the leaderboards. We're playing to stay in the league. And CNZ is one of the best in the world at that play style. And he will continue to do it until it doesn't work.
Yeah, we love those off-minute picks. That was like basically a matchup which we've not seen in a while, but at the same time, it's been there since day one of Quake Champions with Visor versus Nyx. But it's been nice that you saw CNZ with a high percentage in terms of his rail accuracy. I think there was about 398 damage between both those players. So both of them were quite able to, defend for themselves and try and show a lot of map presence going into it, especially with Spart1e during the first, I think it's like in the 2 to 6 minute mark. He was doing a phenomenal job just making sure that his presence is known, trying to at least try and make a comeback on CNZ, which he did, don't get me wrong, but CNZ wasted so much time on those heavy stairs going back and forth on the orb, just keep an eye on exactly what Spart1e's up to, because it is an extreme annoyance of actually trying to at least close out and trying to at least sandwich him into a certain area, because in that certain area you can hear the audio cue from so far away, and as soon as he hears him like around the heavy area, he's going to go up to top mid. If he goes towards the eye, then he's going to drop straight down to heavy and maybe go for one of the light armors. CNZ knows this. He's a very good passive player when it comes to playing cat and mouse at the dying moments, but I don't think it's going to happen too much here, Ryan, as it's going to be on Deep Embrace, and it's going to be the last map between the two to see who takes the series.
Looks like the initial fight has already been sprung out there from Spart1e. Spart1e being able to take the Mega as well. little bit of early aggression here on the newest edition, but the two poster boys going head to head. Kind of just look at the difference in utility, I suppose. That double jump, very similar to an Awoken. The benefit of it, free damage for CNZ, but he's not able to escape as Spart1e picks it up, gets himself a nice little rail, and, I mean, perfect position to get the heavy as well. And there it is. Enough of a delay between the two of them. I think Spart1e can start to begin this cycle of the items. And as we can clearly see, Spart1e controlling the high ground too, which means there's quite a lot of audio information for him.
Yeah, I would say this is more Spart1e's map pick, but we'll see how things go. Depends if Spart1e gets to play his style. If he doesn't, and CNZ forces his, then it's not going to help too much. But both of them are such a similar stack here, and a beautiful rail there from Spart1e to get that second frag on the board. Only been a minute, and you know what, Ryan? You know what's going to be like, especially on this map. There's going to be countless frags back and forth. We're just going to see how CNZ can at least come back from this. But I don't think it will be too soon, as Spart1e's just nicely done, just baiting the heavy, making him think that it's not up yet when it clearly was. But CNZ probably knew that anyway, looking through the bridge underneath. But now he's going to try and close things out. He couldn't at least go straight in because he didn't have the rockets. Still doesn't have the rockets yet in his arsenal. But Spart1e now, great atomic control, great listen to audio cues, and great job suffocating CNZ and pinning him down.
Oh, caught on the drop down though. That's a big chunk of damage right there. Looking for the shot, hits it, gets two. And he can actually afford to tank one more, so it's no wonder he's pushing in. The confident push up on the jump pad. And normally you'd never advise pushing someone on the jump pad, but when they're that weak, who cares? You can tank a lot of things. Almost a ring out, it looks like. Shot through the window. These rails have been off the chain for Spart1e so far, and CNZ has really struggled to cement himself at this point. He's going to spawn near Mega side. He has a rail in hand, but it really is as good as it's going to get for now until he finds something better. He's going to be on the Mega, but I do think Spart1e's ready for it. Lets him take it because he's like, well, okay, I'm just going to hit some rails on you for free. Pushes in and just continues to be as aggressive as can be. More of these rails for Spart1e. And a lot of his rails, I mean, he's been pretty accurate, is a understatement, as the guy is currently sitting on 80% rail. 8 out of 10 shots have hit their mark so far.
Oh, just absolute filth from Spart1e. I loved it earlier. He baited his movement to go towards heavy to force CNZ to push the two health bubbles bottom mids, and the rails again from Spart1e. You're all right though, Ryan. He's literally not missing at all. 71%, 10 out of 15, 66% now, just barely missing any of them. I said this could be more Spart1e's map. Maybe it could be an understatement. We'll have to see. But CNZ's got a huge comeback to claw back from. Gets to 50 armor as well. He's going to try and go for the heavy contest. He does, and he gets the frag as well. Surely he's going to push on again and suffocate him. Yes, he will. He misses the first rail. He's going to try and rocket him away for it. Just keep him at distance on the Mega. Second one comes in. The rail does. Surely he's going to clean him up here. Yes, he does, and gets the Mega too. Okay, so I think it's going to be definitely a big frag game here between the two. It's only been 3.5 minutes so far.
Yeah, I mean, with the way Spart1e's going, we're going to have 10 frags in less than 4 minutes, which is kind of ridiculous. I don't really need to state the obvious in that one. The point blank, the orb doing pretty much nothing, and CNZ forced to retreat. Thankfully, the bottom point of Deep Embrace, there are plenty of little items that you can take to bring yourself back up. CNZ gets the rail. Bit of a fumble there from Spart1e, no, he pushes in. I do understand it though, because I mean, look, the guy's feeling himself. He's been hitting so many of these ridiculous shots, and every fight has gone out perfectly. In some of these situations, you would normally question going in. I mean, if he's feeling this much momentum, maybe he just fancied his chances. It's still 9-1. However, he is weak. Is CNZ going to chase? Yes, he will. CNZ gets another frag on the board. Now, the thing about losing so many frags so quick is that you have plenty of the map left to even those odds. It is a hard ask, though, for CNZ to just kind of casually get 7 frags, but we'll see.
He definitely can if he's got the stack. He has the stack almost, but the thing is he can't take too much damage in some of his engagements, but he keeps taking way too much, and now it's gone the opposite end of the stick here. Spart1e's one with this huge advantage. Mega is still up, but what's this? I think he did know that Mega was up, but he was going to bait it out so that at least he can try and reposition and then delay it a bit longer, but that might bite him in the backside here as he's looking for that rail. CNZ still waiting to see if he can circle round. Chooses the wrong path, but now knows exactly where he is. He is sitting on that heavy. Hasn't been grabbed as of yet, but CNZ could pick it up here, which he will do. He's only on 37 HP. Spart1e's directly underneath him. Beautiful rocket there through the bridge work, and looks like the rail comes through for Spart1e. Spart1e's just an absolute menace on this map.
And the Doomslayer is fitting him perfectly. There's so many players, they do like to compare Deep Embrace to a very similar map to Awoken. And just like Awoken, Doomslayer and his double jump, the mobility and his just creativity of where he wants to go, he is pretty much unhinged. He doesn't have to worry about anything. The double jump just lets him go wherever he wants to go, which means Spart1e can be so much more tactical. That barrier of movement is gone. You can see the amount of rail angles he's able to constantly be in. That is going to be a big push from CNZ, who he needs as much frags as he can. We've gone long past the 5-minute warning. Another rail for CNZ. He is piece by piece bringing this one back, kicking and screaming, but we'll see if he can go all the way here as Spart1e. We have to be on the understanding that Spart1e is going to randomly stop his momentum and not get any more frags. Oh, watch out for the rockets, especially when we're this close to the edge.
Yeah, we certainly are. 6 frag difference between the two. CNZ can make a comeback, but it depends on what CNZ does on spawn. He needs to make the right 50-50 guesses on which way Spart1e is going to take, which path is going to take on spawn each time, especially on the rail area. But this could be a little bit overzealous. He's looking to take him out the shotgun, but just a little bit too far away, but the orb cleans him up anyway, but he needs to get that mega. Spart1e was looking to contest that. He's got the LG, but if he does a lot of damage, which he has done, that's great stuff. I wasn't expecting Spart1e to be up there. I think he was just looking to get as much damage done as possible in the trade, but it looks like that 2 back-to-back gets the light. The stacks is not the worst in the world, but now he's got the heavy. He's looking very good. And he's going to be waiting to see if he goes for the rails. See, it has done. See you later, the Troy Bolt. I think maybe he kicked him out there.
Oh, yeah, no, it did.
Map.
He hit all 3 shots of the tri-bolt, and then there was a ring out on the end. One of the most savage tri-bolts. Oh, even more savage was that rail. This has been quite the match for Spart1e. The tactical calculated rocket almost set up for a rail. CNZ, you think he's got a sign of life, and Spart1e's just snuffing it every single step of the way. And remember, these 2 players, they're 1 game apiece here.
Oh, lucky for him. CNZ gets the LG out. It's only on 43 HP. Looking to get that 1 more. Decides to back away and see if he can get another angle. He doesn't, but both of them are so weak. Spart1e's looking to see where he is, but Spart1e gets the first shot. He was holding the angle the entire time. Just waiting for CNZ to make the first move there.
I mean, I've got to point out Spart1e, he's currently sitting on 57% rail, but he's fired 42 rails this game.
It's unheard of.
The rail has been his absolute magic weapon this time round. And he does hear the heavy, so the timing will belong to him. Oh, I mean, that was either going to be a -1 or a +1, so a frag to frag at the end of the day. CNZ still a mammoth task to climb back in the end of this map with Spart1e sitting on 15 frags. The rampage he created at the very beginning has just given CNZ so much work. I mean, from the moment we started the starting line, you know? Another frag for CNZ, but as we've been constantly seeing, Spart1e's able to just extend things piece by piece, kind of like now. There's no momentum for CNZ. He gets a frag here and there, but then Spart1e immediately returns the favor.
Oh, CNZ needs to close him out on spawn. He needs to have better predictability in terms of where Spart1e's going to go. He's taking the same routes every time. When he spawns rail, he doesn't go for the rail. He goes straight around the other way to bottom mid towards Mega or to go on and the other weapons in his arsenal. And it seems like CNZ has noticed that sometimes, but he hasn't been able to be quick enough to correct his position on the spawn. But look at this, though. Spart1e knows he's just coming straight for him. He was tempted to rocket jump, but decides to back away. He's only got 1 minute and 10 left. It's so weak, but it was railable perfectly, exactly. I think it was like 80 health, 10 armor anyway, so it was perfect time for him to at least rail him and clean up, but it's too little too late here. There's an 8 frag deficit. For sure. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And CNZ, if maybe it was a bit earlier to trap him on spawn and suffocate him a bit more, put a bit more pressure on, then he could have been okay, but Spart1e was given too many chances, and looks like CNZ is going to try and get a frag to his name, which he does, but maybe just too little too late. 40 seconds left here and 7 frags to go.
This has been quite the season for Spart1e so far. Definitely a far cry from where he started. I think there's a reason when Spart1e has been struggling and constantly being in relegation territory and whatever the case might be. A lot of people have been kind of surprised to see that this was where Spart1e was at, you know, because he is considered to be so talented. But this kind of series, especially with this final map where he just erupted, if we're talking of combat skill alone, I think he can feel very happy about today and just continue to ride this momentum. CNZ's been a dangerous player in the later stages of last season and throughout the entirety of this season, and Spart1e's been able to take him out. This final map was not close. This was a dominant showing, and Spart1e starting to, I don't know, show us maybe the Spart1e of old is coming back.
Yeah, it's nice to see, really. That's one thing I'd love to ask him in an interview one day in the future. Is just to find out what he's actually changed, like in terms of him as a person and what he's done in general. Because he's still the same character, he's still the same player, the same style. He's just his aim's a lot better, his movement's a lot better. He seems to be making a lot more of the correct decisions he should be making off spawn, or maybe making the right rotations and paths. So I don't know if it's what he's been doing in terms of focusing on himself and fixing on his mistakes, or maybe just rectifying them, but also concentrating on like the study work, really exploring what the other players are up to, why he needs to try and correct things, and maybe change some stuff in his play to make it so that he can at least demolish whichever opponent he's been playing against. Because so far, a 2-1 against CNZ is phenomenal, and he's continuing doing such great work in this stages of this season of the Pro League. Last season, like compared to this one, is completely night and day in comparison to what we've seen in the past. So, maybe he's feel a bit more, not as demoralised in the past. Maybe he feels like it's a fresh season, it's a new Spart1e, and hopefully he can continue on. It's not the top of the leaderboard in the EU region, but you've got to remember the EU region is stacked, but Spart1e is making a statement and he's doing such a good job. But there's a lot of things and a lot of changes he's made, like the paths, the routes he's taken, and maybe the momentum in his favour. But great job from Spart1e once again.
So, our next matchup, Rafa versus Nosfer, the champ we get to see for another time, and always a treat to watch Rafa play. And Nosfer, a player who you're always looking at the next week thinking, oh, is this the week that he kind of reaches that next level, So I think we're all excited to see that one. But yeah, I mean, just final notes for this series. CNZ able to show us that he's still absolutely one of the best in the world at what he does, which can be that slow and calculated play. But then at the same time, Spart1e, this was absolutely Spart1e's moment. So very happy for him to get that upper hand and show us what he's made of for another week in a row. So we're going to go for a quick break and set up Rafa and Nosfer. Thank you so much for joining us so far. This is the Quake Pro League for another week, and we will see you in a few minutes' time.